and thank you for joining me on live with this amazing guest that is coming. So, her name is Elizabeth, and I think she's here. Elizabeth Bachman. So, she's sending a request on Instagram, right? And I hope I can find you here on Restream as well very soon. So, hi Elizabeth.
Hey, can I switch to my camera, to my computer now?
Your computer, we're gonna be here and the computer. Can you do it both, or is that difficult for you?
I can. I've got some pictures better on the computer, but
I see that you joined me, but I can't see your face there on the computer.
let me see.
But welcome and thank you so much for joining me. This is amazing.
I'm so excited to be doing this.
Me
So
either. You're going to be my first guest that comes live on Instagram, and we're going live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So, an amazing experience, right? We're going to take this to another level.
Okay, well,
So,
I'll figure out how to do this somehow.
don't worry, take your time. We got time.
Okay.
I'm here.
I see you on Instagram. I see us on Instagram.
Right. So,
and can I turn off my? I've got too many microphones going.
all right.
Let's see.
So, I think we can reduce. Hello, Anna. Yes, I can see that you joined me on the restream, but I can't still see your face there. Should be coming up soon.
I think you have to add me to the broadcast. So that's what it's telling me.
Oh, but you are here. Wait, let me see. The cover. I did this last week for a podcast, and it went very well. There was wait. Let me do it somehow. The background. I can't see your face really. I know you are here. Oh, okay. Let me
There we go.
the sound. There we go. We are in both knowing.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can.
Nope, that didn't work. Okay.
Oh no, I can't. I still don't see you.
Okay, I think I am only hearing you through the phone. Phone is too close. Sorry.
The sound. Your sound. You got Elizabeth, tell me, are you on your computer doing the restream, on your phone doing the Instagram, correct?
Correct.
So you shouldn't be having problem with the sound.
Well, I tried to turn the sound completely off and listen to you just through the computer. But so far, I'm only hearing you. Okay. I am only hearing you through the phone.
Oh, okay.
We do this slightly different way.
Wait. Because I can't see yourself here on the.
Let's see.
Is this Instagram?
Okay, so I put you on headset on the phone. And I can see now both of us.
Right. This is amazing. I'm learning
It is
another
very
way.
interesting.
I don't know how you did this, but looks
Well,
good.
it's like doing a Facebook Live where it's live on the phone and delayed several seconds
All
on
right.
the computer.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. So I hope everyone will be able to listen us. Uh, could you can you bring your page bigger, or is just the way you should? Oh, I can't hear you now. Something is going on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you talk?
Okay. Yeah, I can talk. So I'm connected to the phone. I think I'm listening to you through the phone. I'm seeing the chat on the computer on Restream.
Right.
I seem to be on Instagram. Let's see. Am I on Restream? Let me go back over.
There we go. This is a well done for us. Like I said, it's the first time, so this is life, this is real. But welcome to my life, Elizabeth. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Yola. I'm so happy we're actually doing this.
Yes, me too. Me too. Very, very excited to have this conversation and find more about your journey and what you're doing right now. How is your business? What are you doing, the women around the globe? Because I know you do an amazing work. So yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I can see our conversation. This is really different. I feel like we're going to be able to go into live on stream and live here, and it's going. I don't know what's going on, how, why we didn't, but there we go. We got this option here.
I'm watching you on the phone because the computer is seriously delayed, and
no problem. No worries. No problem. Let's do it.
Gotta do.
Yes, we do. Yeah. We got to do. That's right. So, Elizabeth, in 3 words, could you tell me who are Elizabeth? I don't know if you can do it.
Speaker, laugher, word person.
Speaker, laugher, and word person. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah. Fabulous. So I love all the 3, and you also the laugher. Laugher is amazing to be able to laugh. Right? It's really good.
At least I'm laughing at myself tonight. So.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. But so in your business, you strategic speaking for results.
Strategic speaking for results.
Right, good. So what is that about?
Basically what I do is I do executive coaching through the lens of presentation skills. So I was 30 years an opera director and spent most of my life before that in the performing arts.
Oh.
And so becoming a presentation skills trainer was a pretty logical thing. But I also ran an opera company. And after having many conversations where I wanted to I wanted to run an opera company. I wanted someone to hire me to run an opera company. I kept hitting a glass ceiling. And I didn't figure out until years later what I had been doing wrong. So I have that experience, the glass ceiling experience.
Right.
So now what I do is I leverage what I learned from 30 years of working with singers, from everything from teenagers doing their first aria ever to Luciano Pavarotti in New York City or Tokyo or places like that. And
this is amazing.
It's all about how you present yourself. For the young singers I work with, it's also all about marketing. How do you market yourself? What makes you different from the 20 other sopranos that just sing that very same aria?
Right. You mentioned something just now, like makes you different from the other 20 or the other 30 or the other 50. This is a hard job, right? to make
Yeah.
some, yes, because you need to go deep to understand that person, to be able to see, okay, this is your difference, and we're gonna work on this difference and bring it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you just have to be aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it. The thing, my opera company was mostly a training program for young singers, both German speaking and English speaking. So we did 11 summers in the Austrian Alps, which is where I'm calling from right now. It's where I live half the year. And we did 11 summers of performances and training, and we taught business, which is something that no one else was doing when I started. By the time I finished it, the universities had caught up, but it was one of the things that young artists, any art, mostly don't get taught. How do you make a living? How do you actually wind up getting paid for your art? So you go to college or university or a conservatory or whatever, and you learn how to be this fabulous artist, and then you get dumped out onto the street. And how do you make a living at it? How do you get paid?
Right.
So that was really what we taught. We taught people how to do that. Basically, that performers are entrepreneurs.
Right. Yes.
Most
yes.
of the time, you're paid a fee. And certainly in the opera business, if you're sick and you don't perform, you don't get paid. So you have lots of it's the same sort of financial model as a realtor.
Right.
That you get chunks of money at odd times through the year, but you have ongoing expenses.
Fantastic.
And that taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about being a boss, and a whole lot about that. But I also, but I got sort of burned out. I did that for 30 years, and I was thinking, if I don't leave this, I will lose the ability to be moved by the music.
Beautiful.
Which was the reason why I got into it in the first place.
Wow.
So from there, I moved to training business presenters. And I'm particularly passionate about helping women get their voices out there.
Awesome.
So, especially in the speaking, the big speakers and on the big stages, it's still 95% men.
Yes.
So,
they're waiting for me, Elizabeth. They're waiting.
Yes, exactly.
They're waiting for me, for us. There we go.
Yeah. Yes. Waiting for us.
Yes.
Exactly.
And one question: why you are so passionate about helping women to be heard?
Well, I am a woman who wants to be heard.
Awesome.
So that's me. And I wasted years waiting to be recognized for the good work I was doing, not marketing myself. And I think now, when I look back, that's one of the reasons why when I was applying to run a company, those jobs come open maybe 3 times a year, and I was consistently on the short list, and then I would see the job go to a man. So, and often a man who wasn't as qualified as I was.
Right. Yeah.
And what I figured out later was that I wasn't marketing myself to the right people. I was, being really good and really well known and beloved in the profession by my peers wasn't enough. And I was still I still had my mother's voice in my ear saying, good girls don't brag, don't get above yourself. And, and my mother was a very powerful woman, but she didn't, she didn't like it when we were talking about ourselves. So learning how to walk the tightrope between being considered bossy and being respected is something that took me years, and it's something that I now teach, and I learn from all my clients.
Yeah.
Every single client I have teaches me more about that.
Yes, this just you mentioned now comes to the previous words that you said about I learned to be a boss. because it's a lot of things, a lot of work to become a boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy thing, and I love that. I love that you went through this journey and make you aware that yes, I'm not talking or I'm not presenting myself to the right way to the right people, so I need to change. And when was the time or the moment when you found a new change? Was how many years ago did you realize?
It was over. It was gradually over the course of
Fabulous.
several years, and just basically learning, fundamentally making all the mistakes. I made all the mistakes myself. So one of the reasons why I'm out there is to try to help people not make the same mistakes I did. You know, you'll all make your own mistakes, but at
That's
least
right.
there are some mistakes that I could maybe help people pass on what I was taught. People who reached out and helped me or said, you know, there's some things you could do that would get you better results here. You know, it started when I decided to found the opera company, and I had to raise the money, and I had to raise $100,000, most of it in $100 increments.
Wow.
We couldn't get any grants or anything, and so I had to learn how to speak.
Learn, yeah.
I had to learn how to speak to get people to open their wallet. And
interesting.
You know, how do you get people to speak, to give money, especially to launch it, to give money to something that hadn't happened yet? And most of my donors were in the US, and they weren't going to come to Austria to see the results. So it was really a challenge. And the thing that actually saved me was a speaker trainer who liked music and came to one of my fundraisers, watched me do a terrible job, and called me up the next day and said, you know, that's it. There are some things you could do that would get you better results. And I thought, oh, you mean
this is amazing.
Rules? There are techniques. I don't have to figure this out myself. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And you know, that was the first major business coach I hired. I had a coach who helped me launch the opera program, but I mostly knew my way around. But then the business coach, I didn't have the money. You know, she wasn't cheap. I didn't have the money to hire her, but I finally figured out that the commitment I had to the people who needed me had to be greater than my fear.
Powerful.
And it wasn't that it was costing me something. I was investing.
Yes.
And I am still using, you know, that was over 10 years ago, 15 years ago now. I'm still using some of the techniques that she taught me.
This is amazing. And you know, you were just talking about, you were doing a presentation, or you were doing a fundraising, mm-hmm. and this lady went to watch, and next day she called you, and she helped you to change everything. And this happened to me, related with this new way of going live. It just happened to me like 2 weeks ago, actually. And I just saw what you're saying. It really talks to me, because happens, and it can happen to anyone. Because 2 weeks ago I was talking with another lady on podcast, and the next day or a couple of hours later she said, Yola, I can help you. And then we have a meeting, and she gave me some tips and tools, and that's it. Here we are doing live in 5 different places. I don't know where we're going to go, but this is amazing. And today we're celebrating the World Kindness Day. And I just want to say thank you to these ladies that change our lives, and much more that will come on our way, of course. But this is just a remind, like, there is no limits, and there is no, we cannot close the doors and listen what the critics, whatever comes to our way, to give us some.
Well, yeah, it also
tools.
Shows you the power of having a really good network.
Yes.
Because, and I was just yesterday, I spoke to someone who's going to be a client. We've done various things together, and then she said, okay, I need to hire you. And we did just a little preliminary strategizing. realized what she was looking for, and the people she really needs to talk about the specific project are not they are experts, but it's not something that I'm an expert in, but I know who to ask. And so when you have a network, then you can reach out and say, hey, here's this person. She has this specific thing.
Yes.
She just needs to talk it through. Would you be willing? And boom, I've got 3 awesome people who are going to help her build this program. I'm going to be doing something else with her, and I'll be doing my thing with her. But in the meantime, having a good network and paying attention to your network, taking care of your network,
that's so
showing
true.
up.
That's so true.
I like to think of it as allies.
That's so true. Yes.
Yeah.
Really, really. That is a tip now from you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
I like to think that really good speaking, being a good presenter, can bring you funding, allies, and recognition. And by funding, it's either income, direct income for the sale, or it's indirect. Say you're in an organization and you need that promotion. Being a good presenter will help with that. It also helps you get the allies, as we were just talking. And then there are a lot of people who come to me who say, I was sitting listening to that speaker thinking, why is that person getting the spotlight and not me? I know I'm twice as smart as that person. How come, why isn't that me up there? And that recognition is actually what gets you known, gets you followed, gets you hired. So I know how to get people there. They often come to me and they say, I just saw that idiot speaking, and I said, to hell with it. To hell with it. I've got to get out. I've got to learn how to do my speaking, because I'm tired of sitting back there and knowing that they're wrong.
But I think this is one of the, okay, let's say you know how to get them to talk, to present themselves, but for we be able to be on a stage talking to other people, it's not just the presence, like the way we dress or the way we talk, but also the way we think. No, is a lot of things involved, right, Elizabeth?
A lot of things involved. Yeah. I break it down into strategy, script, and style. You've got to know where you're going, and you've got to have the right strategy so that you're speaking to the right people. Because, you can have the best speech in the world, and if you're not speaking to an audience who cares about that topic, then it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time. But so if you've got the right strategy, then when you know who you're speaking to, who you need to reach, who's your ideal audience, rule number 1 is make it about them. What do they want? Which is basically rule number 1 in any kind of marketing.
That's right. Yes.
One. And so we've got to find the right words. And then once you know what you're going to say, how you say it is incredibly important. So it all fits together. They all build on each other, and they feedback on each other.
That's very, very powerful. Wow. And glass ceilings. I have a question here for you. What is your own experience with glass ceilings?
Well, it was wanting to run an opera company, applying to be an artistic director or a general director, and finding that and losing out to men who weren't as qualified as I was. The thing I didn't realize until many years, till I started doing the work I'm doing now, working with the women in business that I am working in now, was that first of all, I should have been marketing myself to the board of trustees, because they're the ones who do the hiring. And secondly, when people are worried about money, and if you're on the board of an opera company, you are actually legally, fiscally responsible. It's your bank account has to ultimately be behind it. So boards of trustees are always worried about money. When people are worried about money, they're more likely to trust a man. And and I saw that over and over. And in the opera business, I was one of the early directors, one of the early stage directors. In England, you say, in the UK, you say producer, but I was one of the early women, and it got to the point where after I did it for 30 years, so after a while, it wasn't unusual. And you have women or men were treated more or less equally, except when it came to big money. The big money still went to the men.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Hollywood, up until the last 3 or 4 years, it was the same 10 directors being nominated for Oscars over and over and over again. The big money would go to the men. Because people are worried, and there's this unconscious bias that men will understand
more
money better.
Yes.
The other thing that I see with my clients, and I lived it, was that women tend to wait until they're 150% ready. I talk to producers and conference producers and podcast hosts around the world, and I'm often saying, how come most of your guests are men? Why aren't there, unless it's a woman's group that's speaking by women to women, how come most of your guests are men? And most of the time, the host will say, we'd love to have more women. But when we ask, they say, oh, I'm not quite ready, or, ask me again next year.
Ask me. You can ask me. I'm ready.
People, believe me, I just haven't got my act together to send the emails, but there's a bunch of people I'm going to send you to. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is
also
true.
Giving women the courage to step forward and say yes and to try it.
This is true because I do run a podcast, and I never placed a blockage to men because I have a lot of males coming in, women as well. But I tend to see a lot of male coming and trying to join my podcast. And I found, wow, because we are very clear, like we are women Flix, but even like that, they always coming. And I appreciate this. It's really powerful for us and for them. And and I actually, since I started the podcast, I used to see more males coming in, and now is more women doing the steps as well, which is like you said.
Call it women Flix, though.
Yes.
I would think. Yeah.
But our podcast is called Entrepreneur Talks, so anyone is welcomed. But even if it was, but it's run by Women Flix. But even if it was Women Flix, we wouldn't close the doors to men. But the invitations, and if someone comes to invite me to talk, mostly are the men that come to me and invite me, because women, I don't know, it's different. They don't come often to look for women. I don't know. This is my experience.
Let's do something about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because this is my experience. I don't have too many requests, because I do normally as well receive requests to join their podcasts, but it's always mostly men. So any women that is here, listeners today, and run a podcast, get in touch, because me and Elizabeth, we are always ready to join
a podcast.
The tribe.
For you, it would be a podcast that speaks to entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you've got the right audience. My podcast, Speakers Who Get Results, is aimed at corporate women.
Okay.
I'm talking mostly to people who are working within an organization, wanting to be better leaders. We talk about visibility, leadership, presentation skills. And then because I'm a word nut, we talk about communication and challenges and how to get men to listen to women, things like that. That's a big part of what we do.
Right. So your podcast is focused more into women, like I understood.
It is focused to women not women entrepreneurs. There are a lot of podcasts for female entrepreneurs, but this is really women in corporate who are looking to be better leaders, be more visible, better communicators. And I know you might say, "Oh, well, I'm a great communicator," but are you speaking the language of the listeners?
Right.
And and that's a whole other topic that I talk about a lot, about how do you speak the language of the people that you need to reach, the people you need to convince.
Even on podcast. Okay, good thing to think about it. And tell me more about your signature technique of strategic empathy.
Strategic empathy is my name for basically putting yourself in the shoes of your listeners. Who are they? What do they want? What are they looking for? What do they need? Maybe if you're, especially as an entrepreneur, most of the time when you're speaking, you are speaking to sell your services, to promote what you do. But you have to give them what they want before you can give them what they need. And that's a mistake that I see speakers make all the time, is they address what they're pretty sure the client is going to need. But if the client doesn't know they need that, the client isn't going to get, you kind of have to wait till they've already hired you and then give them what they need. You've got to address what they want. So
it's like touching on their pain, or we can say that.
Yeah, it's finding their pain. And actually, if you want people to really change, you're trying to help people change their patterns, you've got to make them feel the pain. Because otherwise, in the Western world at least, most of the time we're too comfortable. I think nobody changes unless they have to. Who would go on a diet unless you had to, after all? I would be very happy living on cookies and chocolate. So, and nowadays, as I'm sort of you only see my face. You can't see that I'm living on cookies and chocolate more than I should be. But
it's true.
Getting people to do what's good for them, to change their pattern, you've got to really make them feel the pain.
Yeah, love this.
You've got to jolt people out of their rut,
their comfortable zone. It's like take people from there.
There's a great saying that a rut is just a coffin with the ends kicked out.
Good. And this is like, Elizabeth, thank you so much for your answer. And this is basically, this is a program that you run, or is
I do programs for groups and communication workshops for groups within companies. And then I do work with solo clients. And right now, since we're live, I can talk about this. We're live.
Yes.
In the month of November, I am broadcasting on my Facebook and LinkedIn page on my podcast, my system, the system that I know has worked, has helped so many of my clients, which is the strategy for being more visible. This last week, Thursday, was how do you actually write the script? So it's writing a script that bows. Next week, we've got
really
an episode about how to transform your speech from boring to bravo, which is basically all the extra elements, the extra keys to enlivening a script. If you have just a plain old script, a plain old speech, it's like if you were a chef at an Italian restaurant and you boiled up some spaghetti and dumped a can of tomatoes on it. I mean, that would be edible, but it wouldn't make people beat a path to your door. These techniques, these speaker keys that I use to liven up a basic speech, that's the onions and the garlic and the herbs and the fresh herbs that turn a can of tomatoes and a box of spaghetti into an amazing dish
Love it.
that will then put you on the map.
Fabulous. Love it. Love it. That's really good. And do you work with like, I know you work with women mostly, and your clients are more based in US or any?
I've got US or Europe. US or Europe.
Right.
I mean, one of the things about the European clients is that for business, the most of the time you have to do a presentation in English. So that's where I can help. I quite often is that at the very least I can correct people's slides so that they're spelling things correctly.
Yeah.
I just did that for a Danish speaker who used Google Translate, and then I came through and just cleaned it up. But also, with 30 years working with opera singers, has taught me how to listen for clarity and diction.
This is very important.
Quite often nowadays, because we're such an international world, nowadays, if you're speaking English, it might be your second or third language. And for people in the audience, it might be their second or third language. So you have to pay attention to
the words,
the choice of the words.
Right.
Or if you have to say a technical term, a complicated technical term, make sure you pronounce it.
That's so true.
So I add, that's one of the things I don't think and I don't see any other speaker trainer doing, is paying attention to the choice of words so that you have consonants, so people can listen.
This is very. Yeah. I remember now. You just made me remember myself when I started the podcast. I went to one of the co-founders because I born in Portugal. I'm from Portugal, so it's my second language is English, and my colleague, she was raised in England. From her, when she was 5 years old, she came to UK, and she lived most of her life here. She's Portuguese, but I had to go to her to get the right words, or even to help me to say, instead of saying wow all the time, I want to use different words like amazing, fantastic, fabulous, looks wonderful. And I didn't know these things. I had to get help. It's this kind of talk, like you just said, that is important. We need to have the right words and make people understand, or even make sure we make others understand and we understand as well. And I remember that was really important for my start when I started the podcast, because I didn't know. I was always saying amazing, amazing, amazing. And then I said, no, this is not right. I can't say amazing all the time.
Yeah, and I'm often working with people who are very smart. I work with a lot of scientists and medical professionals who have to talk about technical things.
Yes.
So there's a whole art to describing something with the technical term, but then also using a metaphor. Like I just did talking about the pasta and the spaghetti and the can of tomatoes. You knew immediately what I was talking about. And I could have used a lot of jargon, of speaker trainer jargon, but giving that metaphor of taking your dinner from boring to interesting and doing the same thing with the speech. That's a way of framing something that I can talk about technical things all day long, but framing it so that people will really understand.
Awesome. So, and going back to the last question I did, and you answered that you're running these lives or podcast, no, your lives on LinkedIn and your Facebook group. Tell me, or tell us, how can people get there so they can join? How?
Try LinkedIn. That's probably the simplest. I actually do 3 broadcasts a week. One's the podcast, Speakers Who Get Results. But then I do a live every Wednesday where it's like short, little tidbits, it's like under 10 minutes. And I also rebroadcast an older thing. So there are really 3 broadcasts each week.
No,
And
very
it's
good.
Elizabeth Bachman.
Okay.
Elizabeth with a Z, like the Queen, and Bachman, Bachman.
I will
And
leave your details on the
yeah,
on every platform.
and that's
So
the easiest way to find me. Yeah.
good, good, very good. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you so much. I
Was
look forward to many further conversations.
Yes, I hope, yes, we're gonna be on podcasting together as well, apart from the live today. But this
Okay.
was really, really amazing. Good, love it,
Thank
and
you so much.
I learned a
Okay.
lot of things with you today, and I'm so glad that I have opportunity to talk to you and listen about your energy and your journey and what you're doing with women. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any
I don't actually know how to hang up. How do I stop
No,
this?
no worries, no worries, no, no. And also, I don't know if anyone has any questions. I'm just gonna see if there's any questions around, because uh no, no. And it's Silk is just saying really good, Elizabeth. She's very happy. And anyway, if you have any questions, you leave on the comments, like, and we will be get in touch soon. We see them and we answer. But once again, thank you, Elizabeth, for this new way of live streaming, like going into Instagram on the same time on my live stream platform. I don't know how you did it, but you did it, and well done.
Okay. Well, next time I will know to have a cradle for my camera, so I'm not just holding it.
Oh my
And then
gosh. Yes, I do have a ring. That's why you have this
yeah,
light here, but it's quite helpful. Otherwise you stay there holding.
yeah.
There we go. We are always
Okay.
learning. So thank
Okay.
you once
Thank you so
again.
much.
And I will
Okay.
see you on your podcast sessions. I'm very interested to learn
We'll
these
talk.
tips. Yes.
Absolutely.
Take
Okay.
care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. You just press end somewhere. I think on the top. That's right. So thank you so much, everyone that was here with me, and the ones that are coming later to watch this live. Was the first time we went live together on 5 platforms. So if you prefer, jump on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. You're going to be able to watch this conversation again on these platforms. You take care. Have a lovely evening. Happy World Kindness Day. And once again, I see you in 2 weeks. Every other week, I'm here with a new guest talking and bringing really good content. Take care. Bye bye. Boom. Mm, share video. Think so. Cover. Cover. Bye bye. This